Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Community Works. I'm Bernadette Welsh, your host. Each one of our shows highlights a charitable organization in our community. Our goal is to educate you, our viewers, about the great work that's going on all around us every day by local agencies and their supporters. When people help their neighbors, everybody benefits. The focus of today's show is the work of the Connecticut Women's Consortium. It's been around for a while. They do so many wonderful things for the community. And so I'm so glad to welcome my guest, Alicia Feller, who is the executive director of the organization. Felicia, welcome to Community Works.
Hi, Bernadette. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, happy to have you. Okay, so it's just you and me. So we get to talk about your organization. First off, could you please tell our viewers about the mission, maybe a little bit of the history of the Women's Consortium?
Sure, I'm happy to. So the Connecticut Women's Consortium is, the mission is to ensure that the behavioral health system responds to the needs of women and the people in the organizations that support them. And so we really try to make sure that the behavioral health system is providing trauma-informed and gender-responsive care. And we do that through providing trainings, advocacy, conferences, and programming. So a little bit of the history of the consortium. It started back in 1998 in response to a high infant mortality rate in the city of New Haven and surrounding areas. And then over the years, we partnered with the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services through the state of Connecticut, where they created a trauma initiative. And so through that trauma initiative, the Women's Consortium partnered with them, and we created the Trauma and Gender Initiative. And so really what that was to make sure that we were able to provide trainings that are trauma-informed and gender-responsive. And so we did that through consultation and training and providing a toolkit and really trying to make sure that the system was really looking at things through the lens of being trauma-informed and gender-responsive.
So you would bring an expert in a certain area, and then your people would listen and learn, and then they could go ahead and do what they needed to do.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
That makes a lot of sense to me. All right, so given the name of your organization, Alicia, can men join in, or is this a ladies-only organization?
Such a great question. Thank you for asking that, because a lot of people think because we're the Connecticut Women's Consortium, men are not allowed. That is not the case at all. As our mission said, we support women and the people and organizations that also affect them. And so it really takes a community to make sure that people are thriving and doing well. There are lots of fantastic male therapists and professional counselors out there. We certainly welcome them to the table to participate in our trainings. We have some fantastic male trainers who provide trainings. So men are most certainly welcome in many ways because it really does take the entire community to help support women.
Very good, very good. So you're letting men help. We're letting them help.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I think that's great. I think very gracious of you. Okay, so what do you offer your customers, the participants? How does it all, you mentioned it to start, but maybe go in a little bit more detail about what you can do.
Yeah, definitely. So we have several different things that we do. Our primary thing that we offer is catalog trainings. So we have a number of trainings that we provide that can be virtual, they can be on-site, sometimes we offer hybrid. After the pandemic, we realized that we needed to be able to offer trainings to both people that wanted to get back out and be with other folks, as well as the people that, because of job changes, childcare issues, needed to be home, but could still benefit from the trainings that we offer. And so we try to hit a couple of different areas. We provide trainings in the clinical skills areas. So that can be anything like grief work, internal family systems. We have a training coming up on working with EMS and firefighting professionals. Those are just some examples. We offer quite a few different trainings. We provide trainings in cultural competency. So that's working with birthing persons and health disparities, working with the LGBTQIA+ community, the toxicity of racism. So we have a number of different trainings in the cultural competency area as well. For most of our licensed professionals in the state of Connecticut, they need to have specific credits and CECs, continuing education units, in veteran services, as well as the cultural competency ethics, things along those lines. So we try to provide those trainings as well and make sure that people are getting what they need.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, professionals need to be educated so they can do their jobs.
Yes.
And your group, your organization, makes sure that they have these competencies by being trained and by participating in all kinds of informational sessions.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing? Okay, very good. How about, can we go maybe a little specific, like for the veterans, what would we be talking about? What would somebody be training on for veterans? Would it be post-traumatic stress syndrome or something of that nature? What it entails, how to help? Is that?
No, that's a great question. And we have a woman that we work with who is a veteran and then moved into becoming a licensed clinical social worker. And so she provides training on resilience of veterans, on understanding what are some of the challenges that they face once they're out of the service. So it covers a variety of different areas within the veterans training.
Excellent, excellent. Because a lot of people don't realize that when people go for help, they certainly want somebody who's competent to be working with them.
Absolutely.
And there are degrees you could get in psychology and social work and all that good stuff, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're properly trained yet. It's like, need more training.
Yeah. So that's really why we try to offer the very specific training areas. And we poll our customers to see what it is that they need and they want. So that helps us to create our training catalog.
Excellent. So if people want to learn something, they could always go on and converse with you about something that they need.
Yes.
Or something that you might have not maybe thought about, but not realized that the need was as great as you thought it was going to be. Okay, well, that makes sense too. Very good, very good. Okay, so we talked about accessing the programs online or in person. Is it a 50-50 deal, or does it just depend, or how does it happen?
That's such a good question, and it really depends. It depends on the trainer. Some of our trainers prefer to be in person, and you lose a little something when it's a virtual training. You're not able to feed off the energy as much. And when there's didactic teaching and then small group exercises and things like that, that really is, it's a more conducive learning environment to do that on site. But then there are some trainings that are just fine to be virtual. And what we've been trying is the hybrid, where we have both on-site and a virtual audience. And so, again, when it's a more, strictly teaching and not as much of a group breakup exercise involved in the training, those tend to work better for our hybrid events. And then we also have a whole on-demand catalog, which is self-paced training. And so we have over 60 trainings on our on-demand catalog that clinicians can access. They continue to get the CEC credits for that.
Okay, so they could study, they could get the catalog, they could study, then they could pass a test and show that they have competency.
Yes.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. I didn't realize that either. That's an excellent way to do things. So it seems to me that you really are multifaceted in how you are approaching this training issue of how to help women in all aspects of life.
Yeah, we try to be.
Yeah, very good. It's just an important thing for our folks to know, because maybe they do want to contact you and talk to you about things that affect them, and I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now my wonderful director Victor is going to show some photographs, and we're going to talk about it and give folks a visual about what goes on in the various things that we have to offer. So, Alicia, what are we looking at here?
So this is a few vendor tables at an event that we had. We host a few different conferences throughout the year, sometimes in partnership with the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, sometimes our own. We have an integrative medicine conference that we do every year, and these are vendors that were available at the integrative medicine conference. So they come and they share whatever it is that it's usually small business is owned by women.
Right.
And they come and there's a jewelry maker. There are folks that make bath soaps and candles. There's a couple people that do some journals. They offer different exercises. We have a Reiki practitioner. We have someone who does some chair massages. So kind of runs the gamut
of what women like, to what women have to offer.
Yeah.
Very good. And what about these nice ladies?
So this is the same. This is a couple of our customers who are talking with a vendor. at the same event, and both of those women are women who have come to more than one of our trainings or conferences. We tend to have repeat customers, so very great to see them.
Yeah, and it's good to know that you have repeat customers. It means you're doing something right.
Yes, exactly.
Very good.
So,
and what are these nice young people smiling about?
That is my amazing team. We are a staff of 10. We're 8 full-time and 2 part-time staff, and they are the ones who really make it happen. And this was at a conference that we did, a 2-day trauma and recovery conference back in October, which was a very big lift for our small but mighty team, is what I like to say.
There you go.
They're amazing. They really are.
And are these gals all college educated, or are they just all qualified in different areas of
qualified in different areas? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
This looks like Christmas.
Yeah. So this is another picture of some of our members of our team. One of the things that we like to do is try to give back to our community. So we work closely with the Hamden Youth and Family Center. That's escaping my name. The name is escaping me right now.
That's okay.
But we get a name from them or a family every Christmas, and then we purchase some Christmas gifts as a team, wrap everything and drop it off so that they can have a great Christmas of family in need. It's through the Keefe Center. That's what it's called.
Oh,
in
the
Hampton.
Keefe Center.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Now, are these folks participating in some kind of training?
Yes. This is one of our training spaces. We actually have 2 training spaces. And this is one of our more recent training spaces. Very state-of-the-art. We can hold about 125 people. And so, yes, this is a full house at one of our trainings. The trainer's way up on the front in person. Right. But it's great space. People really love our space when they come into it. They say, oh, it's nice open windows. It feels warm. It feels welcoming. We really go out of our way to try to make people feel comfortable when they come. We want it to be an experience, not just a training.
You know, sometimes you go through those trainings and you're trying to keep your eyes open. Yeah. So you want to keep people engaged. Are these places in Hamden?
Yes, we're located at 2321 Whitney Avenue in Hamden. We are on the 2nd and the 4th floor.
Okay, so those conference centers are all at that location.
Yes, all at that location.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, now what are we looking at here? This is our lead-in.
Yes.
So tell us about this. What's going on here? It's coming up quick.
It is coming up quick. This is our International Women's Day celebration. We're very excited about this. This is something that the Consortium has done throughout the years. And so this year, what we are really trying to do is inspire women through meaningful conversations, creativity, and wellness activities. So we have Representative Jillian Gilchrist coming to speak to us about potential changes in legislation that affects women in Connecticut. We have a mindfulness and wellness practice that's going to be happening. We have another collaborator coming to just talk about setting boundaries and how women navigate that in everyday life. And then we will have a couple of raffles. We have lunch being donated by Eli's Whitney.
Yeah, we'll give a shout out to Eli's. Yes. Good for them.
Shout out to Eli's, yes. We have some chair yoga that's going to be available. We'll have vendors again. And it's just an opportunity for women to really come, network with each other, and kind of take a step back from...
Good, and that's all going to be at the Hamden location.
Yes,
Excellent.
On both floors.
Excellent,
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we're going to keep that on our calendar.
Yes, please do.
Maybe I should show up.
Yeah, that would be great. We'd love to see you.
I'd love to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the pictures give people are so visual, and so they need to see what's going on. So I'm really very appreciative that you were willing to share those pictures with us. And I have another important question I want to ask you.
Okay.
About how are you inspired by your work with the Women's Consortium and here in Connecticut? I mean, tell us a little bit more about your journey that got you to where you are today.
Sure. So through the years, I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and through the years I have taken trainings through the Women's Consortium. Have always loved them. They're quality, solid trainings, learned a lot. Then I became a trainer. And then as I ended my career my previous career, I worked for 30 years for the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services.
Oh, okay.
And then when I left there, I ended up coming to the Women's Consortium, which I was very excited about, something that I had kind of really visualized and hoped would happen. And I came as the director of programs, and the then executive director was getting ready to retire. And so I applied for the position of executive director, and now here I am, almost a year into it. And I love the consortium. I love what it represents. We really are focused on empowering behavioral health professionals so that they feel that they have the best, most cutting edge knowledge, the best evidence-based practices to be able to treat women in the state of Connecticut. And when we have strong women, supported women, strong families, that really strengthens our communities. And that's really what it's all about, is making sure that Connecticut has very strong communities. When we have strong communities, everyone benefits from that, So even though we are the Connecticut Women's Consortium, that really is our focus, and we do some advocacy around women's rights and reproductive health, we recognize that a strong woman creates strong families, which creates strong communities.
Do you ever lobby the Connecticut legislature for
We do
programs?
from time to time.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So what we do is we watch I have a staff person who watches the bills that are being brought up in front of the legislators. And what we do is we look to see what are some of the bills that are kind of mission critical and where can we support those. So we might write a letter, we might make a phone call. I know in the past we have actually had staff go and provide testimony. And so we really try to just make sure that the legislation is passing bills that, again, will benefit women and keep women's rights at the forefront.
Good. Do you have any special legislators that are in tune? Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Or
good question. So we've been supported by Senator Blumenthal, Jill Gilchrist. Again, she's coming for our International Women's Day. Representative Rosa DeLauro.
Yes.
She is also supportive in the past. Senator Chris Murphy has been supportive. So, yeah, we've reached out a few different times to various legislators, and we get response, we get support.
That's very important. We are here in Connecticut. There's so much going on, and we have a very progressive state that I'm very proud of. I'm proud of our town here in North Haven. And when the consortium goes and asks for help or needs support, it's just a really good thing that people are listening and responding. And that's why we're doing this show, so that you'll know more about the Women's Consortium and how it can help women in all phases of their lives. Yeah. I recently read a book by Debbie Posick, and she mentions the Women's Consortium in her book. And she advocates for grief. She has grief counseling. So is that one of your things that you train on, is grief counseling?
That is actually one of our trainings that's coming up soon, is on grief work. Because that's, it's an important piece of it. So we try to look at through the lifespan.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what's really important, is through the lifespan. So we have a youth vaping training coming up, right? So we can target the youth. We've done mindfulness for children. And then through the years, and grief, of course, affects all ages, all people. So yeah, grief work is very, very important. So that's a training that we also have coming up.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm kind of exploring some of these little things that were on the website that that women could get that would resonate with women that are watching our show.
Sure.
For sure.
We also have a podcast.
Oh, tell us about that.
Yeah, it's called Raising Resilience. And so two of my staff took it upon themselves to start a podcast, Marissa Padron and Alana Valdez. And so what we do is we talk to some of our trainers and our keynote speakers at some of our conferences and ask them if they would be available and interested in doing a podcast with us. And so they'll interview a trainer about how they came to be passionate about the subject they're training on. What is it that they're training on? What's some of their backgrounds, some of their stories? So I encourage people to check out our podcast series for sure. There's some really great things.
Now, is that on the website?
That's on the website.
Go on the website?
Yep.
Yeah, so that brings us to the website question. So there, I know you can, well, let's talk about what your organization needs the most.
Yes.
And we were talking about that before the show started. And I asked you for certain things, and you said, Bernadette, what we need most is
Donations.
Because all of this costs money.
Yes.
So could you talk a little bit about the need? Do you get money from the state? Where do you get money from? Are there business organizations that contribute? Where do your donations come from?
We are largely grant funded through the state of Connecticut. We do pursue some smaller grants on our own as well. The Community Foundation of Greater New Haven. They're a fabulous partner with us.
They're wonderful.
Yes, fabulous partner with us. And then we, with our catalog trainings, we don't make a lot of money through those. We do charge a fee for those so that we can pay the trainer essentially. And we offer coffee, tea, and breakfast when people come to our trainings. So we try to cover that expense. But donations would be helpful. It helps us to expand our programming. One of the things that our team is looking at in our strategic plan for this year is to be able to offer some more free community projects. We would love to be able to offer free trainings to the community for people that maybe don't have the funds to go to an all-day training or a half-day training. And so we want to really be able to expand that. So donations would be incredibly helpful with that. Donations also help us to pay for students if they want to attend a training. We can offer a scholarship through donations. So donations are always very helpful, for sure. Okay. And for people to come and enjoy our trainings as well.
Yeah, you could, offer a little bit more than the coffee or tea, or have it be more. You could. I think the more resources you have, the more things you can do.
Yes.
Whether it's with your trainings or with whatever the consortium is doing at the time, I think it's very important for people to feel comfortable participating, and so your donations to this organization would be a very great help. So I hope that everybody listening to the program will take that to heart.
Yes.
So I want to go back a little bit to the Women's Day celebration. Have you had those in the past? Is this something that happens all the time? Is this new? We have a little extra time. I'd like to expand on that, perhaps.
Yes. So with the International Women's Day, we have had that over the years. Last year, we had an event where we had an MD come in and speak about knowing your rights as a woman and things that you should feel comfortable asking your medical provider.
Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. We had someone come in and I'm trying to remember now, they talked about body shaming and fat shaming and what that's like, and how to combat that. We had a free lunch that was provided by an organization that supported us, or a restaurant rather, that supported us. And so I'm not sure what was done the previous years, but I do know that it's something that we have done over the last several years.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is an amazing thing, and I hope that the show helps get more women to come to that event. Okay, so what will folks find on the website? I looked, getting ready for the show, I looked and I saw a lot of different things. But could you talk to us about what exactly is on the website? What will people find there?
Sure. So they'll find, obviously, our trainings, our catalog of trainings, both our on-demand and our most current catalog and the upcoming catalog, which we will be launching our April through June catalogs shortly. They'll find a link to our Trauma Matters publication. That's a quarterly publication where we focus on different pieces of trauma and the intersection of, we did, for example, our last Trauma Matters publication was on Black maternal health, and resources for that, understanding stories, the statistics around that. We are currently doing one on, so we're trying to provide trauma-informed care. And we're also, we have our newsletter. So we have our monthly newsletter. We don't spam people. So if people sign up and, for our emailing list, we don't
Yeah.
you with a lot of different things. That's not our goal. So we provide a monthly newsletter that again has little stories and some links to a trainer, some links to a popular training, and some fun stuff. One of the things that we did recently was some pictures of our staff with their animals.
Oh, I
and
love
it. Just enjoying that.
Animals are very therapeutic.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And then you will also find some additional information on our Trauma and Gender Initiative. There's a link to that. It goes into a lot more detail on what's involved with that. It's a great tool for organizations that are really looking to look at their organization from a program perspective, their HR perspective, their policy perspective. Are they really providing trauma and gender-informed care? So it's a fabulous tool if organizations are looking to really provide care through a trauma and gender-informed lens.
Do you ever do things like explain to corporations what sexual harassment is all about and how to train their staff not to get involved in that? Is that something that the consortium does?
So that's something that we certainly can do. So we also offer private trainings. That's the other link that you'll find. A lot of times we have organizations that will contact us. They're typically behavioral health organizations, and they will say, we have some grant money to be able to provide some trainings. We're looking for training on trauma-informed mindfulness. We're looking on training on trauma-informed care. We're looking for a training on group facilitation. Can you help us with that? And we are absolutely able to help facilitate that. And we can, again, we cover everything from soup to nuts. We get continuing education credits for their staff if they need it. We're able to bring the training on site if we need to. And we are also able to provide virtual training if that's what they're looking for. So we've worked with a number of organizations in the past to bring trainings that they need for their staff.
Well, Alicia, I think we have covered quite a bit of information, and we are running out of time. But I hope that you've listened to this program and gotten an idea of how important it is to be properly trained to help women do what they need to do. We live in a difficult world, and women face challenges that are specific to women. It's not saying that men don't face challenges, but women have specific challenges. And it's nice to know that there's an organization out there that focuses on women, their health, to help end discrimination and all kinds of things, and just to have women have a healthy, happier life. So, Alicia, thank you for being on the program. We really appreciate you and what your organization is doing. And I want to thank everybody for watching the show. I'm Bernadette Welsh for Community Works. When people help their neighbors, everybody benefits.